Fallen trekking poles. That should be my trail name. Yes, I'm once again up in the mountains here. I'm on the Gran Alpine trail heading up to Susie Lake. I can't remember the last time I stayed at Susie Lake. I'm pretty sure I stayed there at some point. But if I did, it would have been 30 years ago or so. I'm right at the point of this trail. It's a road really, where it goes from a crappy gravel road to a crappy paved road. And we got to deal with this for a mile or so. Passing a few homes, the Gran Alpine spring. Yeah, I find this part boring. And here the road ends and the trail begins. Jeez. Starting with a staircase. That's just cruel. I just don't feel like hiking uphill today. Taking breaks, going slow, not seeing anybody on the trail. Just the way I like it. There's a big old bear there. I was standing here for just a few minutes. I kind of looked around and saw something moving. I assumed it was a bird in a bush. But then I see it's huge. This is a very big bear. And it looks like he's grub hunting or something. He still hasn't heard me. I just shouted at him to get him to look at me for a still. He looked. Doesn't seem particularly afraid. I hope he knows that I'm a person. Well, let's find out here. We gotta know for sure. He knows I'm here, and he's not running away. That's not good. Hey, bear! Huh. He's just sitting there. Maybe I should run away. I assume there's no little ones here, but he's not threatened by me. So that's not good. I should leave. Bye. Well, that was an interesting hike. It was like 2 hikes in one. There's a steep uphill part, and when I got to that, I started dragging my butt. I hardly filmed at all on the way up because I've been on this trail so many times. It just didn't seem like it was worth it, and I can do that on the way out. And I was hot in the sun. I was cold in the shade. Every steep uphill, I got into zombie mode. That's what I call it. When you're just moving along and you're hardly even conscious of what you're doing. And for me, I find myself stopping. I just stop. And what is that? I just find myself just stopping on the trail, and I kind of come to in a moment. It's like, oh yeah, you got to keep moving. But it's like a wind-up toy, winding down. I get down to that last little bit, and then that's it. And then I saw a bear. Actually, I took a break. Or it was one of those times where I just kind of slowed down to a halt, stopped moving. I decided I need some water, maybe I'll get a drink, and I was hanging out at the spot for 3 minutes at least, maybe 5 minutes. And I look in the distance, and I thought I saw a bird in the bushes. You know, I didn't think much of it. It was dark, and I saw some motion. But then I realized that the darkness is part of something. It was a bear. It was a really big bear, really big, dark brown bear, and got nice footage of this. Well, not nice footage. I could have tried harder, but I got shots of him. And then I decided that it would be prudent for him to be away from the trail, so I tried to get his attention so that he knew that I was there, and figured once he knew that I was there, he would run away. Pretty darn sure I got his attention, and I'm pretty darn sure that he knew that I was there, and he did not budge. He was digging for grubs, and he just decided I was kind of far away. I guess he decided I was no threat to him. Unlike the enormous bear that I saw a couple years ago on the Barrett Lakes Jeep Trail. He was a big bear, and the moment that he recognized that I was an animal, he turned and ran for his life. But anyway, enough bear story. So it was like 2 hikes. That's the point I was trying to get to. The drudgery of the uphill, drudgery, and then, hey, I saw a bear, and all of a sudden I'm awake, I'm feeling good, and I'm close to the apex. I'm close to this junction, which meant no more uphill climbing. Yay! So there was this connector trail that was just up and down a little bit, no more than 100 feet in any direction, and the rest of the nice bird over there. The rest of the trail was nice and easy, and I'm all buoyant and fluffy and happy, and it was like 2 different hikes altogether. Got the tent set up over here. The trail runs over here, the lake is over there, and here's my stuff. There's my water supply and my nighttime white noise. It's kind of hard to see in the camera here, but not far from here is an extreme drop-off and a huge waterfall. Well, you can see over there a little bit better, and you can see that's the dam right there. The dam in a log jam. So this is one of those old classic campsites that's been around since forever. I got my I chosen a food hanging spot already too, and it's a doozy. Except for it's too far away. That's the one thing I don't like about it. But it's perfect. Nobody's going to get my food. Tent's on a good spot. I got what I wanted. I got my beautiful campsite. There's nobody around here. I saw a bear. It's beautiful. It's 5:30 and then some. And I thought I want to start cooking around 6, so I thought I'd take a little stroll. I haven't even seen all of the area yet. I've hardly even seen Susie Lake. I don't even think I've recorded it yet. I can see Grass Lake. I'm sure you can. I'm not going to bother to zoom in, but through the trees there I can see Grass Lake. So let's do a tour. There's my lovely tent, and here's my lovely water supply and ambient noise generator. I'm just going to love this. And by the way, in the shadows down there, looks like there's a lot more really nice camping. It could just be my imagination, but it looks like flat ground down there. And there's a very clear trail of people going down. That might just be to see the falls. This water falls off the edge over there and makes a nice waterfall. And you know what? I didn't even think to spot it on my way in. I just got a little bit hungry. That's good. And you can see here is the Pacific Crest Trail. I'm that close to the trail. There's a more direct route to it from my camp. And there's a dam and a log jam. It looks like the top of this little tiny ridge over here has a nice view of both Grass Lake downhill and Susie Lake uphill. And it's got a beautiful juniper at the top up there. Let's see what we see. We see Grass Lake down there. So I suppose this is a good time to tell my Grass Lake story. One of my very first trips, the first serious trip. My first backpacking trips, well, my very first one was with when I was 12 or so, my girlfriend's mother took a bunch of kids up to Eagle Lake, 1 mile in. Well, the upper side of Grass Lake is interesting. It reminds me of top lake. Maybe it's just the angle at which I'm seeing it. Anyway, let me think. Yeah, that was the very first trip. The secondary trips was me and a couple of buddies just going to Yosemite and hiking on the trails and camping horribly illegally, and for like a week or so. And we would just go in for a day or two at a time. All I remember is we camped above Nevada Falls in this really cool campsite that it was so illegal. They even had stenciled paint on it telling you not to camp there, but we did, and it was bad. Okay, God, I guess the muscle relaxation is kicking in. When I was in high school, those Yosemite trips was in high school, and then I think I went with Robert and my sister and a bunch of friends. We did a little hike in Desolation. We went to Pyramid Lake. I remember having a great time at Pyramid Lake. And then when I was around 17, I think, probably the summer I turned 17, Robert and I, just the two of us, went on a long trip through Desolation. So I had almost no backpacking experience then, really very little. And Robert was an Eagle Scout. He ran me into the dirt, ran me ragged. I don't remember. I seem to remember that we were everywhere. I know that we were in Rockbound Valley. I remember that. I remember going over Rockbound Pass. I remember being. I think we went everywhere. Oh, I just noticed those trees there, mostly dead trees, are at the very edge of the cliff. Didn't even notice that. That's way downhill from here. I'm not going to do that right now. So on that trip that Robert and I went on, where he ran me into the ground, and he taught me, that's where I got all my first lessons about backpacking, about cooking over a fire, about doing all kinds of stuff, the Eagle Scout way. I remember walking by this spot several times subsequently, but I didn't today. At least I didn't think I went by it. I think we were on the Pacific Crest Trail, coming towards Susie Lake from Gilmore, and I was just dying. So we must have come over Dick's Pass, probably. I'm fading here. We probably came over Dick's Pass, and he just kept saying, we're going to the lake. We got to get to the lake. We're going to the lake. And I'm thinking, okay, we're going to the lake. There's a lake around here. We're going to it. And somewhere, I don't know how I did that, but to get a feel for the topography here, the trail must be. Let's see. Okay, and that's Dick's Pass is up there, the low part, and the Pacific Crest Trail comes down the side of that far mountain and comes roughly there and turns this way. So it must have been somewhere behind that big tree, off in that direction somewhere. Along the trail, I looked to the left and I saw the lake. I saw a lake. I didn't know anything back then. I didn't know anything about Desolation or the maps, or I don't think I was even reading maps then. I must have. I must have just learned right around then. So we're going along the trail. I can't keep up with him. Just can't keep up with him. But I look to my left and I look down and there's the lake. And I'm like, well, screw this. I'm just going to walk straight to the lake. What an idiot. So over this terrain somehow, still don't know. It must be on the other side of this near ridge. I made my way all the way down to Grass Lake. It must have taken me longer than I think, longer than I remember. And, and I was waiting for Robert. I got down there, I waited for Robert, and he wasn't showing. And I was probably thinking, you know, I probably did something really stupid by leaving the trail and going to the first lake that I saw. Maybe this really isn't even the lake that we're supposed to be at. You know, I was that stupid. And then I believe, probably standing right here, maybe to the right over there somewhere, Robert starts shouting down into the valley there. Ow! And I hear him. It was funny, I could hear him, but I couldn't see him. I didn't know where he was. That's a mile away. God, it's amazing how the sound travels out here. Is that a mile? I guess it's not quite a mile, but it's a long way. And I was telling him, well, get your butt down here. And he did eventually get his butt down there. And then to my absolute horror, he says, okay, let's go. I'm like, well, wait a minute. This is the lake. We're going to stay here. No, we can't stay here. This is a crappy lake. Oh, okay. So I don't know how we got here or where we went. We probably went to Susie Lake. We probably went right here. Or Gilmore. I think Gilmore would be closer. So that's my Grass Lake story. And I've always considered Grass Lake a crappy lake. Some people say it's really nice. But I remember Robert saying it's a crappy lake. We can't stay there. So to me, it's a crappy lake. This bird is flying right at me. Well, that was cool. And you missed it. But if I was ready, I could have caught this guy flying right at me. But I failed. Anyway, so that's Grass Lake down there. Let's wander up here. There's trails all over the place here. Oh, that sun is just brutal. Don't know how long I'll be able to look over in this direction. And there is lovely Susie Lake. It's a good-sized lake. If you follow the inlet on the far side there, it goes up to Half Moon Lake, Altamoris Lake. Me and my buddies, I think we crossed country. It was either a day hike or we took our packs and came down from Half Moon down to Susie Lake here. And it was a marvelous hike. Just a beautiful hike. There was a deep canyon along the way that we had to climb up and stay above. Oh, it's very, very bright here. Brutally bright. We'll see this lake in the morning. It's just too hard looking at the sun here. But I just needed to walk around a little bit, loosen up my back, which is really stiff, and see the train. This is the Pacific Crest Trail here, and we're just very short distance from camp. Okay, that was a very nice little appetizer hike. Oh, there's a person over there at my camp. 2 people are setting up in my camp. I can't believe this. Phew. Okay, misunderstanding. When he said here, he meant over there. I can't see where they are, so that's okay with me. I'm up hanging my food and taking in the view up here. Nothing short of magnificent. Beautiful creek there. 2 discoveries. There is one really cool pool down there. That pours into a small pool. It's really nice. And another discovery is neighbors camped right on the trail. Okay, now I'm ready to get food going. Should do that right now. I've been trying to take care of little details and get ahead of the game, and I got most of my food hung already. I mean, really hung safe for the night hung. Oh. Up there. That is one nice fruit hanging branch there. They just don't get any better than that. It's totally dead all the way to the trunk, but very strong. And the good thing about a dead branch is no pine sap or anything to create friction. So here's my little kitchen zone. Pretty kitcheny. And here's my food hanging while I was away from camp. And now I will cook. All done with dinner. Nice mellow evening here. Neighbors are distant, can't hear a thing, they're probably already asleep. My back has been really stiff. I took muscle relaxants and lots of Motrin, and that's beginning to get a little better now. And I'm just so relaxed here. I'm getting up and I'm pacing around, but I love the creek. It sounds so pretty. The moon is all the way high in the sky. It's a quarter moon. It's going to be setting after midnight, I think. It's really pretty out here. I'm really glad I came. Glad I came to Susie Lake. This is Grand Central Station here, but it's Grand Central Station with a little bit of separation, just a little bit. But I think we're going to have a good time here. Tent looks comfy. Well, we'll just see. Greetings, campers. I am comfortably in my tent now. It's about 11:15 or so. Creek is roaring out there. Sounds really nice. It's not that cold. Got down to around 41 out there before I came inside. So it'll be in the high 30s. The second quilt probably won't be used at all. High 30s is right where I like to use this thing. Nice quiet evening here. Got a real scare when that guy said that. It was strange. A couple of guys came in. One guy points to the ground right in my camp and says, "Yeah, we're going to set up right here." And I'm thinking, right here? And apparently he was really whipped, and the first bare ground was it. But his buddy came through and found a spot apparently very close by, but I don't hear them or anything. I really like this spot here. It's right on the trail, or very close to the trail, which isn't great, but I love the creek, and I want to explore downstream a bit and see the falls. That would be pretty exciting. But it looks like a huge camp area down below there. I gotta check that out. And there's a big pool down below. Should be really nice. Anyway, I could babble for a long time, but I'd rather listen to the creek roaring. So, good night from night one from Susie Lake. That's my morning view. Hope you can hear me. Just drinking my coffee next to the creek here. Oh God, it's a beautiful day. It's cool. Wasn't that cold. The temperatures ended up being on the very high range of predictions in the upper 30s, maybe low 40s or so. Slept really good in the tent, but just not that long. The sun blasted me at 7 o'clock. Stayed in there for another hour. Slept really deep though. God, it felt really good. I feel fine, but I'll probably need a nap later. Not a problem. Just enjoying the morning here. Just beautiful. Already seen a couple of PCT hikers come through. I'm glad I'm not them. I'm happy for them. They're having a great experience, but man, I think most people don't realize how much work it is, and how much drudgery, and how much boredom. I just like to go to the good parts. Go to the nice, pretty parts and hang out there for a while. Still not sure what I'm going to do today. The lazy man in me wants to sit around and do nothing, but that'll get really boring. There's a lot to do, so I'll do something. I'll figure it out. We'll figure out something not to do. Alright, that's enough for now. Well, it's time for the morning poop walk. But if you look closely here, there ain't a lot of dirt. This is all rocky ground. And even places like this is more rock than dirt. So, I've decided that I'm going to combine two tasks here. I'm going to go down there where there's an actual forest and not so much rock, and beyond that is a gigantic waterfall, so I want to see that. So that is my mission for the moment. So down we go. Right, I'm going back. Because I was looking at the rock down there and realized, well, I could go that way, but it's very slippery. I might slip and fall, crash down into the creek or something like that. No, I don't want to do that. And then I realized, oh yeah, I'm going away from camp. I'm all by myself. I am bringing my little SOS device with me. I could fall off a cliff like Conqueror and I'd have no way to tell anybody. That's not good. And it sure looked like there was a big campsite down here, but it's hard to tell. I did not see any fire circle or anything, or a tent clearing that would, and sure enough, it's a lot of debris so far. Oh, it looks like a good place to for my poop hike. There's still a lot of rock here, but there's a lot more dirt. Oh, and it's cool down here. It's, boy, is it pretty. Okay, that looks like a tent clearing, but a really crappy one. Huh. Fire pit. How about over here? No, this looked like a good candidate, but no, nothing. The best candidate looked like it was on the other side of the creek. But here is the cliff. Woo-wee! Suddenly windy. I better put my hat strap on. Hang on a sec. That's a drop off. There's Grass Lake. There's a lovely juniper. Lost my shovel. Okay, let's just set this stuff down here where it's safe. Nice. Oh, this is very nice. What a pretty place. Not as scary as it looks on video, don't worry. Wow. Oh, that's nice. There's this interesting Yosemite-like dome here. I noticed it yesterday when the sun set and the angles were more highlighted. Yeah, that's a dome, a mound. It's very small, but it's a lot like North Dome in next to Nevada Falls in Yosemite. Just a lot smaller, on a smaller scale. I could stay here forever and just watch this creek falling. But I want to do other things today too, so time to complete the poop walk and move on. Well, I found a great place to dig my poop hole. I'm a long way from any campsite, and I see this. A bit of plastic garbage, somewhat buried in the middle of nothing. Blew up here. Wow, there's so much trash in the world that even in places like this finds a way. Damn. This grove of trees here is what I could see from my campsite, and I could see all this brown ground and thought maybe it would be flat. And there is this flat zone here. It's a good tent spot, but it's totally illegal. It's just 15 feet from the bank. And I kept on walking over here. And this is turning into a really nice campsite. There's a small tent spot. There's a better tent spot over there. Here's the biggest, bestest spot. And, well, just look at the surroundings here. You're right on a cliff. That's amazing. And there's this little cowboy camper spot here. Well, there's another small tent zone here. But this was very cute, I thought. Right on the cliff, under this beautiful little juniper. There's this little spot here where a solo cowboy camper could have an interesting night. Geez, there's a trail going around the side here. Why on earth do people do this? There's nothing here, right? Right. Unless you want to climb down that. Not me. I gotta say, Susie Lake is more interesting than I ever thought. Something tried to eat my jet boil last night. I thought it tasted pretty good until they got to the metal. That's annoying. So I'm hanging this from a tree tonight. Well, all those people walking by on the trail pleasantly waving at me made me feel really lazy about just hanging around drinking a cup of coffee. So I'm drinking my cup of coffee over here at the lake. And you know, you go camp at Susie Lake, you should spend some time at the lake. Even though I've come to realize that as much as I like backpacking and camping next to a gorgeous lake and sitting there in the morning and drinking my coffee, I enjoy that more next to that raging creek down there. It never occurred to me that that was a possibility, but a trickling creek is, you know, just kind of nice and quaint. But a raging creek with waterfalls and white water is just immensely attractive, like staring at a fire. It's active and it's alive, and it's more interesting than this static lake here, which is really pretty, but it doesn't change. Anyway, this is kind of neat. There's just a little touch of the crystal range poking over the top of the ridge there. It used to be that you could come here to these old established campsites and find nails in the trees and hang stuff from the trees. But I'm finding fewer and fewer nails in the trees these days. There's one on a down tree. That's a big nail. That's as big as they come. In fact, this down tree is covered with them. I don't know what you can see here, but there's a whole bunch of nails here. Some really big ones, some not so big. And I found one that was bent and barely driven. I yanked it out. I managed to straighten it, and I put it right here. Not deep enough. I can still just pull it out if I want to, but it makes for a very convenient watering spot now. It was not convenient before, but it is now. So, nice. So I'm going to get some water together, and I am planning to hike over towards Heather Lake, and probably just go around the lake. I don't know. I remember at least I think I remember camping there a very long time ago at the inlet that comes from LeConte Lake, I think it's called, a little tiny lake next to Lake Aloha. I remember camping in there, a forested, shady campsite. And I remember seeing a ranger in the field camping there. The only time I've ever seen a ranger camping in the field. And I remember it as a nice place. I don't remember how I got to it. I probably got to it from hiking down from LeConte. Yeah, I think that's what I did, because I think I was planning on camping at LeConte. I didn't find anything, so I just go down to Heather and camped there. At least I kind of remember doing that. It was a long time ago. I think that was 1985. I think that was the trip, well, the 1985 trip. That was a long time ago. I was just a kid. Solo. Probably that was my first significant solo trip. So that's the extent of my day hiking plans. It's already afternoon. I don't want to. Dick's Pass is 8 or 9 mile round trip. That's pushing it. What else is there? Gilmore Lake is uphill. I don't want to do anything difficult. Heather Lake's uphill too, but it's closer. And I don't have to go downhill first. At least I don't think so. Plus, I got something I want to do there, which is find that old campsite or find a different campsite, because when you're on the trail hiking around Heather Lake, it looks like there's nowhere to camp there. I'd like to find a place to camp there and then go there and camp there one day. I gave serious consideration to moving my camp literally down to the beautiful campsite on the top of the cliff down there, and I just don't want to go through the effort. If I did that, that would be all my effort for the day. It would take me a while to pack up and get down there, and I might want to take 2 trips to do it. I don't know, but I will come back here and camp there one day. Do one of these 2-night extended stays there instead of here. I love this place. I love this creek. The trail being so close is annoying. It's a lot closer to, in the daylight than it was in twilight last night. And I'm not getting anything out of it. I was kind of thinking, well, I might have some conversations with some people that go by, but it's just far enough that people feel like they would be intrusive if they come over. And this is a spot where most people just want to rush on by, so there's no interest. So I don't know, I kind of don't want people around, and I kind of do want people around, but I'm not getting either of that. I'm not getting what I want either way, which is odd. No problem. I'm having a great time anyway. Great time. I'm having a great time here. This is my new bear hanging technique. This is basically the PCT style with some variation. The one problem with the PCT style is that you've got your rope going through the carabiner alongside the rope that's holding the weight. If it's really windy and you get all tangled up there, if it's spinning around in the wind, that might be a problem. There's got to be frictionlessness at the carabiner in order for this stuff to slide down when you release it. The PCT style has you tying a stick to the rope in a special knot so that it can't go through the carabiner, and then you just let the rope hang. A bear cannot grab a rope, pull it down, and deal with that. But I am yanking the whole works off to the side. You see it's hanging at an angle there. It can't spin around when it's like that, and I'm running out of juice. Okay, I'm back with a fresh battery. So I've got the rope tied to the stick there, so it can't go through the carabiner, but it also can't go twisting around in the wind. That's why I've got this tied off to the ground here. Got it tied out to the ground there. It's pulling the whole rig to the side so it can't spin around in the wind. If a bear should happen to, a very smart bear, see the food hanging tied off to the ground and they break the cord, it's still protected by the stick. So this is my extra safety precaution here. Boy, most people do not hang their food properly at all, and they're just amazed when the bear gets it in the morning. Alright, so here's a campsite. Sure does look nice as long as there's nobody walking by on the trail right there. You can see how close I am to the trail from here. And you can see that beautiful creek. You can't see the big cliff over there. You can see part of it kind of there. It's a big drop off. It's 200-300 feet. I'm on the far side of the lake. There's some guys on the peninsula just taking a lunch break. Can't see my camp from here. That's an island out there, I believe. The lake goes a good long way. I'll get the full view of the lake on the way back, but I wanted to point out this. That's right, snow on the ground. Still on the ground in September. We're at about 7,800 feet here, so we're not that high. Just amazing. And we're stumbling. So the PCT hugs the coast here, and I think it's just about to leave the lake and start heading towards Heather Lake. I could be wrong. Boy, I feel a lot better today than I did yesterday. That's for darn sure. Yeah, it looks like we're leaving the lake now. Alright, that's enough for now. Well, here's Heather Lake. It's a good size. It's the size of Susie Lake. I'm on the very end of it. Here is the outlet. And there appears to be something of a trail on the other side. The other side is nothing but boulders and scree. It's hard to imagine that there's a trail a full half mile all the way around the lake. But I'm going to give it a try and see where it leads. This is a day hike of discovery. Jesus, I can get across here probably, but look at that terrain. Doing that for a half a mile? Eey. Let's see what it looks like. I'm going to go up ahead further and see if it looks like it's worth all that effort. I was kind of afraid of this. I think the last time I walked by Heather Lake, I was thinking about, and it was a long time ago, I was thinking about getting over to that campsite over there. And I came down from Aloha and walked along the side of the lake, and it just looked impossible. And I was too tired to think about it. The trail here is horrible. I remember that. The trail is crushed rock all the way up to Lake Aloha, and it's no fun to walk over. And I need to walk all along that, but just before I get to where I want to go, there's a 100-foot cliff, and it would probably block my route. There might be snow going into the water even, because the way it's situated here. But looking beyond, wow. Here's Pyramid Peak with a bunch of snow on the left there. And the Crystal Range with a bunch of snow. Magnificent. But I'm going to drink and nibble a little bit and enjoy my perch here. It's a pretty view. That's the end of the lake there where I tried to cross over. It looks quite passable. It's not a flat, direct route though, and that's for sure. But I'm worried about what I can't see around the bend. There is a bend there, and that's where the big cliff is. And that would probably be the end of the end of the hike. All right, this is a doozy of a juniper. It ain't very tall, but man, is it fat and beefy down there. I love how these things grow. Part of it grows and then it just dies. It's dead wood, but more of it just keeps growing and is very much alive. Look at that, totally intermingled with dead tree, but it's alive. Oh, these are great trees. The best. I changed my mind and decided to go further on. Up there, that's where LeConte Lake is, and the creek runs down from there. So that's where I would want to get to. But to the left of that, out of sight, is some very steep stuff. May not be able to get there. I'm thinking really the only way to get to that site, because I'm not going around this stuff, it's even steeper and more rugged. The only way to get there is to go down from LeConte. So I might do that one day, just to see if I can do it. However, looks like the only way to move on is to go back up. But no, I am sure. God damn it. It's tough getting old. I'm darn sure that I camped there 32 years ago and then hiked that way to the trail. Oh, I can't imagine doing that, but I'm sure that's what I did. You can see shoreline trail there. Is that the PCT? I don't think it is. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, the lake continues around that bend there, over that little ridge. There's more lake around the corner. All right, I'm headed back. It's just an hour-long excursion, if that. But it got me out of camp. I do believe I'm going to take in a little bathing here. Look at this magnificent pool. Wow. Not a bad place for just hanging out. The water was cold. I couldn't stay in for more than a minute or two. But it got nice and clean. I'm feeling a lot better. One amazing thing about these falls here is that they cut through solid rock. Look at all this. This is all one solid piece of rock. You can see here how deep it goes, how deep it's been cut there. And that makes it all the more amazing that this tree here is growing on solid rock, 20 feet at least deep. It seems to be just rooting on the mist that's flowing through the air here. I don't know how it's still standing. Another little interesting tidbit. I'm liking this hike, or this trip. I'm really liking this this area here. It's hard to imagine that I'm 150 feet away from the Pacific Crest Trail. 100 people at least walk over this creek every day and have no idea that this little zone is down here. Can you imagine how many people would be spending their lunch breaks here if they knew? Well, I'm kind of tempted not to tell anybody. I don't want that campsite over there on the cliff to get trashed. I intend to come back and use that. So don't tell anybody, all right? Well, it's afternoon. Nap time. It's absolutely perfect nap weather. Just a little bit of partial sunlight hitting the tent. Nice little breeze blowing through. It's not cold, it's not hot. It's comfy. And I didn't get quite enough sleep last night, although I slept really well. I slept really deeply. I haven't felt any lack of sleep at all today. But I think I only slept like 5 or 6 hours, although very deep. 45 minutes sleeping here would be real nice, and I've got the time. This is turning out to be a magnificent trip. I'm thrilled. I enjoyed a hike early today just to go down to the edge of the cliff down there to see the view of the falls and to find the best campsite for miles around. It's just a couple 100 feet from here, but nobody goes there. Nobody knows about it. 100 people have walked by here since I've set up camp here, and not one person besides me has gone down there. So it's a nice little find, and I'm thrilled to have found it. And then I took I just needed to take a hike. I needed to do something. I didn't want to do anything too strenuous because. And I went up to Heather Lake and tried really hard to ascertain if I could hike around the shore to get to the inlet from what's that? I can't remember the name of the lake. LeConte, the inlet from LeConte Lake, and it just looked far too brutal. And I'd done this before, hiking by, thinking about, well, I might want to go there, but it was just so long ago. I just can't remember how difficult it really was. And so I came back here. I hung out on the peninsula at on the other side of the lake from here to visit with these guys that were doing a hike from about a 100-mile hike or so. And they were taking a long break over there. And then they came by over here. I saw them over here. And they were admiring my campsite. But after that, I decided that I wanted to go down to that pool down in the creek that I had seen earlier, to see if it was warm enough to get in and swim around, which was unlikely since I'm such a big wimp about that kind of stuff. And it was indeed very, very, very cold. my feet started turning to ice cubes in a minute or so. But it was beautiful. And it was one of those tranquil, beautiful settings that just puts your mind at ease, puts your body at ease. It was so relaxing being around the thunderous sound of the water and the beautiful falls and the wonderful privacy. It's fascinating. I didn't have any problems, going down there and taking all my clothes off, to bathe and stuff, because from the trail crossing here, where the PCT crosses the trail, you can't quite see over the edge there. So nobody was around, and it was just a joyous, pleasant experience. And now it's, I don't know, it's around 4 o'clock. It's 4:24. I want to eat around 6, so it's perfect time for a little afternoon nap here. So I'm going to stay here for 45 minutes or so and just relax. This is 10,000 foot Frio Peak, and it's getting the last sunlight. Ain't any sunlight around here. It gets dark so quickly here, or the sun sets so quickly. I went up to get my food up at the big tall tree in the distance there, and it was nice and sunny, and as I walked down I realized the sun was setting behind the mountain. As I got there, there was just a little bit of sun left when I got down to my camp here. That was a while ago. And another wonderful evening coming up here. Nice moonlight tonight. It's really dark. It's the last bit of light over there. I just finished a delicious dinner and was energized, and hiked up over here to the lake, really to see if there was any action here, see if there was any other camps or any sign. And it was interesting coming over the rise. The creek suddenly got much quieter, and it seems so quiet over here. It's loud over there. It's very loud. People have been sneaking up on me all day. It's just too loud to hear footsteps or people walking up on me. A bat just flew right by me. That was weird. Anyway, there does not seem to be anybody here, or it's dead quiet. No lights, no sounds. Perhaps people are tucked into bed already. I had a great day today. Just wonderful. Just wonderful. I really enjoyed hanging out down at the waterfall. And a wonderful nap. Lots of little things too, like my tent is set up in the absolute 100% optimal situation. There's no sliding around, there's no angles, there's no low clearance over the toes. Entirely perfect. little things like that have been adding up to a really good trip. I just had this one fear when the when the guy said, "Yeah, we're gonna camp right here in your camp," but that only lasted a few minutes. No harm done. Sure is peaceful. Yeah, I say that's sufficiently bright. Well, greetings from the end of night 2. Another great day, another great trip. It's been an interesting season. Each trip has been very different, and I absolutely loved this one. Had a fantastic day today, just the greatest. I was taking pictures like a fiend, using techniques I've never tried before, and getting great results. I'm just absolutely thrilled with the pictures I took today. And I got myself into the tent kind of early. It's 10:30 or so. That gives me more than 8 hours before the sun hits the tent. So I should get some good sleep tonight. The creek noise helps so much, and I've got this 2 quilts, so I'm able to get just whatever amount of insulation I need, and that's making all the difference in the world. I've been able to sleep comfortably the last 5 nights in a row. Before the previous 5 nights of decent sleep, decent to great, I probably had 2 good nights of sleep in the previous 20 or so. Like 1 out of 10. It's really that bad. Maybe not quite that bad, but it hasn't been this good. And I just love this site for sleeping. It's just so calm. Even though I'm right near the trail, I've got my tent open tonight. I'll be able to see people walking by in the morning. I don't care. It's comfortable here. Good night from night 2. I guess I don't have much to say. I've been saying it as it's happened. Farewell. See you tomorrow. Pretty sunrise in my tent. Big orange clouds around. But it's too early. Pretty clouds. I'm staying in bed. Good morning. Well, the traffic's already started. There was a PCT hiker set up on the other side for a while, drying off clothes, getting water, having a meal and such. It's a different day today. It's hazy, cloudy, thin haze, probably burn off. Doesn't look threatening at all. Although the sun did hit me pretty hard first thing in the morning. Enough clouds rolled in that I was able to sleep until 9. So I had a pretty good night's sleep. Long periods of being awake, but I was in the tent for 10 hours. So I got a lot of sleep in those 10 hours. Hiking out today, don't wanna. It's been just a really magical time here. But it's time. I had such a great time. I took some of the best photos of my life yesterday. It's been a little lonely. Even though there's a bunch of people walking by, I'm not interacting with many of them. People that I am interacting with are pretty cool, as usual, of course. But what a great time I'm having. I've been up for a while, and it must be 10 o'clock by now. On my second cup of coffee. Haven't had breakfast yet. PCT hikers definitely make me feel lazy. I was just getting dressed while the first guy that I saw, at least, came by. I'm sure there were more before that. Nothing, no bad overnight news to report. No critters tried to eat anything. or if they did, they didn't come close to succeeding. And once again, I'm slowly going to pack up, leave late, and have a leisurely day of hiking out. It's a little squirrel statue. Some taxidermist brought a stuffed squirrel out here just as a joke. That must be it. He's frozen. I just met 3 guys that came down from my generation. Except for they haven't gotten to the ultralight thing yet. Big, huge 50-pound packs. But they did the same thing that I did, and camped here once and discovered that campsite down there, and were too lazy to move their camp, but promised that the next time they came they would be down there. And so they're down there setting up camp right now, and they look like excited 8-year-old kids, and I'm realizing that must be what I look like. Excited 8-year-old kids in the body of 55-year-old men. It's a great thing. Anyway, breakfast is just about done. Camp is all packed. I've been really good. It's before noon, and everything is in stuff bags just waiting to be put away, except the chair, of course, which I could probably even do that since I'm sitting on my Insulite here. Anyway, it's the end of, nearing the end of a super great trip. That's my breakfast alarm. So, see you later. Oh, I had a great sunrise at my spot today. So I'm videotaping you guys. I hope you don't mind. These are my neighbors camped at the best spot in Desolation. I think this is the best spot in Desolation.
Yeah.
At least the best view from a camp. So I'm thinking about coming up in a couple of weeks, but I hate that trail.
Coming up?
Yeah.
Come in from Echo?
I came in from Echo a couple weeks ago.
It's
all,
a little bit longer, but it's not.
It's all getting old though. I get tired of the same old trails. Yeah, I'm going to go in at Wrights Lake next time.
I don't know if that's pretty steep. You got to come up a lot steeper, isn't it, out of Wrights Lake?
Steeper than Echo.
Yeah.
Not as steep as this.
Yeah, I did this one time. First time I came up, I did an Alpine.
Yeah. Well, I am pretty much packed up and ready to get out of here. I just don't want to leave yet. I've got time, so why not hang out here? It is an overcast day. It's been struggling to get over 60 degrees all morning. It's a bit over that now, but it is perfect hiking weather. I am packed up except for the stuff, the very last minute stuff that goes on the outside of the pack that needs to be readily accessible. I've got a lot of stuff readily accessible because a few drops of rain could fall, and it could get cold. I'm not sure what I'm going to wear on the way out. It was pretty warm a moment ago. I was about to take off my white shirt here, but it's getting chilly again. So I'll figure that out. What else to report? The weather really was not what they promised. It was supposed to be cold today. It was supposed to be below freezing this morning, and it was nowhere near that. It was warmer than before. Anyway, it looks like I'm about out of battery power, so I better shut down. Well, I'm saying my farewell to Susie Lake, even though I didn't spend a lot of time at Susie Lake. This was really all about the beautiful creek that I was camped next to. The lake is beautiful too. You know, it's certainly windy over here. I keep noticing that. And I realize that my campsite You wouldn't think it is, but it's very wind protected. You can see here, yeah, or up forward here. That high ground there. See how high that is? That's 10 feet higher than my campsite. And that high ground runs along the trail there for quite a bit. And you can see from over here, nice and calm here. See how high that is? So it's a big wall. This here is actually a depression right here. This spot is not to where you want to be if a big downpour comes. An awful lot of water. And of course this would be the worst. An awful lot of water coming through here. Well, the pack is all packed. I'm ready to go. I'm not often in this situation where I'm packed and ready to go and I got all this time to kill. But it's just about departure time. It's just about there. But I'm doing a big farewell. Farewell, beautiful creek. Farewell, distant grass lake. Farewell, neighbors down there. I keep hearing shouts. Sounds like little kids down there. They seem like great guys. They look like they're going to have a lot of fun. One of them is backpacking for the first time, apparently. Boy, at that age, backpacking for the first time, I am impressed. That must have been hard. They camped at Lake Aloha last night, and then came here from there. That's a pretty short second day hike, but for a first timer, old guy, that ain't bad. You know, they're all, you know, got the middle-aged bellies and such. Okay, put the camera away, get some last bit of hydration, a little bit of sugar in the system, and say goodbye to Susie Lake. Bye, Susie Lake. It's been wonderful. Here's a better overview. It's a big lake. But I have to leave it. I've only been hiking for a minute. Well, I arrived at the first junction awfully quick. A little warm. The sun is trying to peek out. It's trying, but I got a little bit of shade here. Hoping to not have to remove layers. That requires me taking off my backpack. But I got to go uphill for a little bit, so we'll see how it goes. But feeling strong and going fast for that first section there. Cute little meadow here. Seeing tons of people on the PCT. Tons. I saw, I think, 20 people so far in my 20 minutes. Lots of people camped at Susie Lake or planning to camp at Susie Lake. Glad I had my time there and I felt undisturbed during the evening hours. Okay, put the camera away, let's go a little bit. If you've got a good eye, the best campsite, and for miles around, is in plain view of the trail, the Glen Alpine Trail. And there is the falls. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Of course, you have to go down in the valley to the left down there to get a really real view of it. Maybe it's possible to see it from the area above Grass Lake where the climb begins in earnest. I don't see the boys. I tell you, I would have loved to have hung out with those guys a little more. They wandered through my camp on the way to the lake to do some fishing. And great guys, had some fun with them. And down we go. That's all the uphill for a while. Well, this is the area where I saw that bear. I gave the hillside a good long look as I was walking down. And this specific area, a really long look, but no sign. Nice. That water went by my campsite today. Oh, by the way, if you own or have access to this cabin here, fulfill a lifelong dream of mine and invite me to stay for a night. Or if you have access to an Echo Lakes cabin, that would be wonderful. Anyway, I'm at the really boring part of this hike, so I haven't been filming anything. If you want a good video of the trail from the junction on down, check out my Half Moon Lake video. I did a lot more coverage of the trail on that. This to me is a boring road, and I'm just walking to my car. Great hike though, feeling good, met some nice people, had some fun, and another exceptionally wonderful 3-day trip. It's been a great summer, great backpacking season. We'll see what comes next, I'm not sure. This guy's busy. Well, I made it safe to my car, on time, on schedule, and it was a very good hike out. I was a little warm most of the time, but I'm glad that I wore the wool top, because I got a little sweaty, and then the sun would go away and breeze would kick up, same old thing. So I really like that. It was 62 degrees or so most of the time. Maybe it was around 60 degrees. Maybe it got down to 58 or so when it got chilly. Anything to report? Not much. Had a great hike, of course. Had fun interactions with the people on the way down. Thought I saw something like a raccoon. I saw some furry animal doing stuff, but he was small and he got away. I saw a bear on the way up. I took beautiful pictures of a raging creek by moonlight. I've never done anything like that. I'm really, really happy with that. The slow motion appearance waterfall pictures is also something I've never done much of. It's time to drive home. A little hungry. I've got one bite of beef jerky and one bite of a kind bar to get me to a restaurant, which would take me at least a half an hour from here, or someplace to get something to eat. But I'm going to give it a go. Let's get out of here. Yay! I'm coming back soon to that Susie Lake site, that high site. That was amazing. Oh, there go the guys that trying to catch fish in Grass Lake or in the drainage. All right, enough. Bye.